Good. Okay. Good afternoon, Mount Vernon. This is the Mount Vernon Real Estate Committee meeting. It is July 31st, 2025. Meeting is scheduled for 2 p.m. It is now 2:12 p.m. I'll call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Ella Martin.
Here.
Here.
Okay. All right. There were the minutes from the June 4th meeting to be approved. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve June 4th, 2025 minutes.
Second? Ready for the roll call? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion, so minutes are approved. Correspondence. So there's some, I guess these are the listed written correspondence that came in. Okay.
Donnie McTaggart, called to find out about the process. I provided information about the status of the meeting and the link.
You might have to speak up because you can fall away from the mic, but go ahead.
Donnie McTaggart just called to find out about the process. I provided him with today's meeting information, including the Zoom link. And a written correspondence from a Nordia LV. It was a bid for one of the properties. And I can respond back to them and let them know that the bidding process has been closed. Yes. But it has been logged as received after the process.
Okay, very good. Public comment period for anyone who wishes inside, except for those that are scheduled for a special presentation. To say any comments or anything new, I guess, that they wanna say. Hello, Miss Esther. Well, thank you. All right.
Here today for the property at 331 Second Avenue.
Speak.
Update so far.
Okay, and that is for, just say the address louder again.
331 South.
Second Avenue, 331 South Second Avenue. Okay, thank you.
Jorge Ibarra here, here updates on property 224 North 7th Avenue.
224 North 7th. Okay. Anyone else?
Sheldon Sharp here for any updates on 234 East Fifth.
Okay, 234 East 5th. Anybody else? Okay, anybody online? No one has questions? All right, just want to make sure that no one online has a question, has a comment, or anything. Making sure, if so, raise your hand in the chat so we can see it. Okay, going once. Going twice. All right, we'll come back into the house. Yes, sir.
This Gazelle. And my first time here, I believe last time I spoke. And kindly she suggested I come over. So this is new to me. I just want to know, I've seen a couple of properties. And I don't know the procedure. I heard the gentleman say something about the house, which I looked at. Is this the time to say, I'm interested in to make a bid, or give me a foundation notice about this from, as I said, it's my first.
Well, you can tell us what property you are interested in. That's what everyone else was doing. So is there a particular property you have the address?
Yeah, I have on my. So I was not sure what was going to take place now.
Okay. Well, subsequent to this, then you could send us also just a communication. You can send it to, Ms. Anderson, just to let her know. We'll do the same thing that we did here with the beginning part of the meeting is to note that we received it. Okay.
And the procedure is, interested in the property, do I submit the bid, but there's bid or how does?
Okay, I'll respond in a moment. Any other questions, Chair?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay. All right. So if not, then at this point, I'm going to close the public comment period and move on with the agenda. But before that, have opportunity for the board to respond to it. So we know that there are a number of individuals that are here asking for updates on the properties that we had originally started this process, putting out a list to receive what is by the charters regulation, a private bid on a property that we had started that process. And we've gone through a long kind of, evaluation of not only the process, but also some things that have changed and changings of the laws and all of that. So there's been a number of factors that have caused delay besides also trying to do some in-depth research on the properties themselves and all of that to find out, where we are from a legal standpoint as we begin to try to move forward. The goal, of course, is for the city to get these properties back on the tax roll. The challenge for the city is that the city is obligated by law certain things that the city must do unless there is some community or mutual or municipal benefit to it. So that has been part of the challenges as well with it. Having said that, the process is at this point, we had closed out receiving any additional bids at this point until we decide at a point where we'll reopen that. Because to me, it was unfair to have people continue to put in bids when we had not finalized what our process should be and what was the steps to kind of go forward. So we kind of ceased that at this point. That's why we noted earlier that someone had submitted, I guess, a bid by request, and we said we will just keep it on file, but let them know that we're not accepting bids at this time. There may be something come down the future, which is what the committee is going to discuss as to how do we move forward with what we have and what is going to be the process. That's kind of where we are today. Okay. All right. So having said that, the next item that's on the agenda is for there to be this presentation from Penrose Sentinel.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Terrence Horton, CEO of Sentinel. Have with me my partner, Will DeVille from Penrose Avenue, Senior Vice President Lynn Bailey, Sentinel. Thank you for the opportunity to present to the body. We're going to start with Will explaining the deck that we have on the screen.
Okay.
Great. Be like a table. Okay, well, I should wait for the public. See. Yes. Well, it's good to be back and it's good to see Ward again, and thank you again for being here to talk about our vision for this property and the progress we've made and the next steps. That's really what we're here for today is a quick update on the property and our progress. That makes sense, doesn't it?
I just want to make sure I catch.
After a quick update, to talk about next steps and the specifics and our request of the committee today and what we believe to be the next steps after consulting with the IDA. Flipping to the next page, I believe you guys have seen this diagram before, our vision for this property, which is really to build something new, something beautiful that's going to transform this corner of town, right? It's a couple of vacant lots now and small commercial facilities. We want to build something better, something beautiful. That vision to us is a mixed use property. It's mixed income apartments on the upper floors and what we think is hopefully just a really dynamic ground floor experience that's going to be a real benefit to the city and the people that live in this area. That's new retail facility on Third Street, a beautiful lobby and amenity space in the blue that you see along Third Street, and a nice community facility at the corner. Perhaps thinking of some sort of cultural or arts programming in that facility on the corner. And then a workforce development center and light industrial facility on South Fourth Avenue. With that, I can turn over to Terrence to talk a little bit further about that vision.
Thank you. The Third Avenue and Fourth Avenue corridor has been without any investment for over 50 years. That corridor that represents only approximately 4 square blocks is the negative connotation that the city of Mount Vernon has struggled to get from under. All the other developers have chosen to build and develop at the train station or in close proximity to. Until the city of Mount Vernon mitigates the blight, the disinvestment, the lack of interest on that Third Street and Third Avenue corridor, we as a community, a municipality, a people will not be able to extricate ourselves from the problems that we continuously have. We cannot attract young people. We cannot attract professionals. We cannot attract the type of individual, the demographic that is commensurate with that other municipalities uniquely are able to attract and hold within that community. The city of Mount Vernon, 75 to 80% of the community work outside of the community to pay its taxes. What the Sentinel does, it uniquely develops a sustainable workforce living, workforce environment, as well as an educational center that develops these young individuals, and immediately upon their graduation and their aptitude to be able to proceed, they become gainfully employed. That is the attraction that other municipalities have. We, Sentinel, Penrose, are going to, more than introduce, we are going to change the trajectory of the negative connotation and the lack of investment and interest that we currently have because of these few blocks that are unable to break free of the stigma. With that said, I'm going to introduce our VP. He's going to explain the unique and dynamic opportunities that this development presents to the community.
Thank you, Terrence. So a big part of what we try to do in any type of development is what we refer to as inclusive development. It has to take into account the economic development of the citizens that are going to be participating in the project. So I'll break down to you some of the things that we are including in this development. Number one, next slide. Number one is a workforce development center. That's a 5,000 square foot that we have set aside to primarily focus on developing and looking for talent. Now, initially, we really want to grab the kids that are coming out of high school, perhaps the kids that are in the STEM program, science, technology, math. We want to grab those kids, but this really is for the community, everyone. We're not going to have an age barrier. So anyone is welcome to come and learn. We have companies that have already committed to taking space in that center. Two of them I'm going to talk briefly about. I'm not going to go with all of them. But before we get into those two, one of the big companies that is with us and that has committed to space is McKissick and McKissick. They are the largest black-owned construction company.
Female-owned.
Largest black female-owned construction company in the United States, committed to us, committed to Mount Vernon. But now there are two other companies that I want to just briefly highlight. One is Royal Power Energy, and this company has a unique product and a unique contract with Con Edison that they're working with Con Edison to actually relieve the stressed grid in Queens. So we're going to take this technology and we're going to teach the kids how to service the equipment, how to program the equipment, the OmniPower system. All of this being done in Mount Vernon.
Install, and assemble.
Install and assembly in Mount Vernon and also support. So before we go to the next slide, one other thing is job creation. So that's one area of job creation, getting the kids. Workforce development, teaching them and training them in the technologies that will be housed in this development. But also will be construction jobs. We have over 700 construction jobs, and many of those will also remain permanent. So it's not just temporary, oh, come in, construct, then leave. There's going to be permanent jobs after the development is completed.
Our construction site will be one of the very few construction sites that will be able to employ the individuals who become journeymen after that project and be able to be absorbed into our sustainable job growth and training program.
Yeah, so we can go to the next slide. So far, as you can tell, we take workforce development and involving the community and training the community seriously in what we're doing. I briefly want to touch on a strategic partnership that we have with this company, BERT. BERT has committed to being a part of this development. They've committed on number one, that they will build a showroom showing off their technology. Now, BERT, the website is bertbrain.com. After the meeting, if anyone really wants to learn about this technology, it's fascinating. I have a few samples I can show you. If you can want to talk to me after the meeting. This company offers the only solution that allows you to control the plugs in a school office building. It is a power-packed smart computer that controls the plugs. You can put it on schedules. You can see the temperature in the room. You can control things based on temperature, schedules, etc. And it is the only solution that if you're trying to meet ASHRAE 90.1 standard, this is it. The only standalone solution that's available today in the marketplace. I could talk for an hour on this, but I won't bore you. I'll stop there. But BERT is our strategic partner in that they will have committed to putting together a showroom so everyone can see how the technology works, and they can actually train kids, older ones who want to learn on how to support and program this technology. In addition to that, they will assist our 501c3 in developing curriculum materials so that we can train properly and make sure that these folks are equipped to be able to take part in the job programs. And finally, BERT has committed to being a consultant for projects that want to utilize their technology. It could be the schools, it could be office buildings, etc. So to wrap it all up, we have a plan that includes economic development. We have a plan that includes inclusive development. We have a plan that really targets some of these kids that may not want to go to a four-year college. They might just want to learn a skill that they can make a living and a good wage and be able to take care of themselves outside of if they decide not to go to college. So our plans, as I said, it's an inclusive development, and we're really, really proud of the thought that we've put into it. And we're really, really proud of the corporate partners that have come on board and said, we want to be a part of this.
what's important, I'd like to, in closing as well, that our program will be the certifying program. We will be the individuals who are authorized to certify them to work on this high-tech equipment. That's what's going to attract individuals because they have to come to our mecca of education, maintenance, and sustainable career growth. We're attracting those individuals. These individuals have come from different parts of the country and looked at our total development, and they have decided that they want to bring their product and their resources to the city of Mount Vernon. And just like those individuals, that BERT is a multi-billion-dollar organization and this is the very first time that BERT is allowing their product to be used or exposed by regular businesses. Normally, they deal with Honeywell, GE, all of the top. You don't even know that they're who they are, but we are the very first company that will be using and allowing this product to be taught, trained, and then, of course, sold. So through our promotional program, as well as a tax generator. We will be able to now start generating income from our development as well as house these individuals that will be long-term users and participants. Thank you.
Great, thanks, guys. So as the lead developer on the project, my job is to turn this vision into reality. And the first step is site control. So just turning to the next page here is a diagram we've went through before as we've presented this committee in the past. It's the one that's satellite view and shows the tax lots. Okay, so there's really three components here. There's private lots, and then there's two portions of public lots. The private lots are the ones on 3rd Street in blue, and the public lots are the balance. The public is a mix. It's a mix of properties owned by the city outright and a mix already owned by the IDA. City are in the green flags, and the IDA portions of those are the blue. Turning to the next page is the process that I think we've also presented this committee in the past for getting to our ultimate goal, which is putting all of these properties, IDA, City of Mount Vernon, and private properties in the control of the IDA long-term. We'll then extend a long-term ground lease to the development teams to develop the property and own it long-term. The benefit of that, of course, is that the properties stay in public control for the very long term. This diagram outlines that. Starting on the left is the disposition of the city-owned properties. Those are the ones in the green on the prior page to the IDA. We will do the same with the private properties. Once the IDA is in receipt of all properties, they'll enact the ground lease to the development team so we can build the project. So we're still at that first step. And we're here today to talk about advancing that first step and getting the properties to the IDA. If you flip to the next page, we broke it out in just a bit more specifics. This is the one, the blue boxes. So we're here today requesting of this committee to extend an action to the city council at the next city council meeting on the 13th. A recommendation that the City of Mount Vernon properties, those that were on green on the prior page, be transferred to the IDA. And then at the city council meeting on the 13th, the second box, the city council will approve that resolution to transfer the properties to the IDA. Reaching the third box, where the IDA, now in receipt of all the public properties, can issue a conditional designation to Penrose and Sentinel as developers of those parcels. This is a really important moment. It provides site control to the team, allows us to really kick off development activities and all the stuff that you see to the right. That designation, as coordinated with the IDA and its council, will include a time frame or a length by which we will be the designated developers. It won't be forever. We'll have to show progress, and we'll have to make sure that we're achieving what we said we're going to achieve. So it's most likely going to include performance milestones to ensure, within that term, so we can remain responsible to the city to make sure that we're moving this project along. It also will come most likely with an access agreement, which is very crucial to this project. That agreement will allow us to get on site and start doing some due diligence on those public lots. We most likely think that this site may qualify for the state's brownfield cleanup program. We need to get on site and do some testing to verify that. That's crucial. that program, if we're eligible, could produce significant financial resources to the project and help us get across the finish line on our financing plan. So with that designation, with that access agreement, we can start making real progress and do all the things that you see to the right, including kicking off most likely an economic analysis with the IDA. We've spoken with them and they believe that that's probably an appropriate step. We'll do that after we get into conditionally designated the IDA. We can start working on a long-term ground lease, which will come with conditions, I think, after speaking with the city council. Make sure that some of the milestones and things that the city finds are really important find their way into that ground lease. We can kick off our review with the planning board, start doing some environmental review of our proposed plans, make sure there's no significant adverse impacts of what we're proposing. And very importantly, we can kick off our conversations with our key financing partner, the state's Office of Homes and Community Renewal. So there, I'll pause. Say thank you for having us and really open it up to any questions about the process or the project as a whole.
Vanessa?
Thank you for the presentation. Very, for this part of the city, it's definitely has, this right here will definitely, change this area here. And I am excited because you're bringing in the youth, which is very important, so they can have something, able to, get a well-paying job and also a great skill. So I am excited with that. In regards to, the tenants that you have coming in, that's also very promising. I'm assuming you have something tentative in writing with them, for the tenants coming in, Wall Power.
Yes,
Yes,
we have contracts in
Yes.
place.
we have contracts. Yes, okay. And that's good. And also working with the school district. I remember when you guys came before, you said you had reached out to the school district to
Yes,
them for the trading.
yes.
Get the, okay.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's also important. My question is in regards to the city property, that we have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5 properties that the city owns. The other 3 is owned by the IDA. I know you said that you're asking for us to, give a recommendation that it gets transferred over to the IDA. From the city-owned property. I'm not sure, maybe I might have missed, I don't remember, did you guys, submit an offer in regards to these 5 properties, what you're willing to pay?
Yes. Yes, we did. And we provided the detailed amount of how much the properties would be worth currently. And then the city took the initial step to have them appraised.
Right, I know we did have them
Right.
appraised.
And then what we had said that we were going to pay, we were spot on to what they were valued at.
I will have to review that. I don't remember seeing that.
The IDA commissioned the appraisals of both the city
Right.
lots and the IDA owned ones. We can provide that to the,
I have the appraisals. I just don't remember seeing the offers received from you guys.
I guess we can update our offer to match the appraised value. It's our intention to
Sure.
pay the.
Yeah, that's what the whole purpose of having the city do the appraisal so that we would pay exactly what the appraisal said that they were worth.
Okay.
We were waiting on the city to do their third party.
Okay, yeah, we did our due diligence. I'm saying I just don't remember seeing an offer from you guys from Centennial.
Not a problem.
Okay,
For
for the 5 properties from them.
Yeah,
I
it was,
got the appraisal stuff, but I don't.
It was early.
it was, Assessor, it was before the appraisals.
Oh, okay.
So it was an earlier number.
Oh, okay,
One of these presentations.
Okay.
If we'd like, we can put it in writing for the appraised amount.
yes. That is my concern with that before we make a recommendation that it be moved forward to the IDA. I would like to see that.
Okay, if you want a letter from us saying that the appraisal, that's fine.
That offer from them on the 5 proposals? It's been really early on.
It was in one of these decks. It had like a value to it.
You have the deck, so it's in there. We've been to this committee twice already.
No, I understand
It's
that.
been in it's been in those decks.
Okay, if you could just update it.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
for me to refresh. That's where I stand with that.
Sure.
Before I make a decision,
Not a
of
problem.
recommending it to go to the IDA. I think that's all that I have with that, with the site control.
So I have a different kind of perspective, and my perspective has not changed, and I probably will say it probably will not change. My perspective is that the city is in need of engaging in projects that is going to have a long haul financial, consistent financial benefit to the city. Not IDA, not anybody else, but to the city. And therefore, we have, through everything that we have learned, we should not be selling our properties. We should be entering into partnerships, and we should be doing just long-term ground leases and things of that sort, which is hence the reason why I initiated the Putting to Assets to Work initiative with GFOA. And as a result of that, we were able to secure this $1 million grant to talk about the transit-oriented area, which these properties actually do include. Actually, these 5 are part of the grant that we received for almost $1 million to look at and talk about what we are to do with these properties, right? What is in the best interest of the city from a asset and financial growth perspective. The city is at the place where the city has to now become part of, I guess, the generation of economy, and not necessarily the one who just facilitates for others to be able to benefit from the economy of it. So that's what gives me pause, right? Because one, I have to be able to see what is going to be the long-term consistent benefit, financial benefit to the city. As the comptroller, I am looking at the fact that, as I've been saying for the last 2 years, the city has to diversify its revenue. The city has to create a consistent, reoccurring revenue as a part of that. And we need to be able to look at our assets and see where that can help with that goal and that objective, right, for the city. So I think I need for everybody to think about that as you start to think about where you want to go. And I'm not saying this is not a feasible project, not one that I want to support or not that can go forward, right? I just need to put in position where I am as the comptroller of the city. And what I'm looking at
We appreciate
for us to be able to do, right?
Yes.
Having said that, these properties are actually right now part of that grant, which says that we are to be looking at it. And it's the, the innovative finance and asset concession grant that came from the Department of Transit for us, which means that actually we would be looking for, as a part of that project, for a public-private partnership with somebody, right? So there's opportunity, right? For that. We are finalizing the RFP for that, which is actually supposed to be on the agenda for the city council on the 13th. So I just need to try to figure out how this project would fit into that. And I think that there's a possible way for that. We just need to try to figure out how to walk through that. So that's number one. Number two is I'm just trying to along that lines. Why is it that the city would need to transfer its properties? Which is a difficult thought process for me, to the IDA. And why not the city actually, just like IDA would be, the city also being right, having ground lease, being a partner in it as well, right? IDA is IDA, and I'm on the IDA board, and I get it, but this role becomes role. So I got to think about the city, right, and what that is. Maybe there's a way to work it out so that even if there was a transfer of that there still is this financial benefit that I'm talking about for the city. I just need to make sure we need to think that through. I guess all of my questions are along that way. Because the third one I had is, what is the long-term fiscal benefit to the city? Because I think I started with, right? And leads to the fourth one, right? Which is how do you see the ground lease structure working? I mean, I think this is all that I had. I agree with the assessor. And I think I've said this before. I think that your project, what you're proposing, has very interesting elements to it. Right? I think that it has beneficial elements to the city as a whole, right? And I appreciate that. Right?
Thank you.
I have to, as the chief financial officer.
Yes, you're doing a good job.
At what is the fiscal right now, especially where we are now, what is going to be the fiscal benefit, the bottom line to the city? Not its agencies, but to the city. Right? To help to alleviate the already high tax burden for the taxpayers. So,
All right.
sure.
Yes.
But,
Thank you for this opportunity. One of the most important dynamics of the Sentinel is that there's a 10,000 square foot light industrial component where we are the only development, quite possibly in the city of Mount Vernon, that has ever produced that as part of the development. So there's going to be significant tax-based generation from that. The products, the BERT products that they have coming, that's going to be assembled and distributed will be the tax. We're paying taxes to the city of Mount Vernon through those sales taxes. We estimate our tax revenue generation to be equal or to surpass what you were seeing at the heyday of the Target area. Due to that, we are the new sustainable technology that the city, the country, even Con Ed. Con Ed has put out significant grants and incentives for municipalities, schools, hospitals to now adopt this technology. This technology has been approved by Con Ed as well as the RPE. And we are, Con Ed also will give incentives if you train anyone for that municipality to be able to understand this technology. So that's why we have put the 5,000 square foot vocational training facility adjacent in a contiguous form of sustainable education, growth, and job creation. So the most important component that answers your core question is we are going to be the largest generator of tax revenue than any other development to date that has come through the city of Mount Vernon.
So let me ask a question. So is there a reason why the recommendation was to transfer the 5 properties to IDA rather than transfer the 2 properties from IDA to the city?
Yes, the IDA is specifically designed to be the arm of the city that facilitates the whether you're going to do certain grants, incentives for opportunity. It is the IDA where you will, after you do your due diligence, you will determine that that's the whole purpose of having the industrial development agency, is because that's the agency that is by lawfully that has been put through the your bylaws that would manage any requirement.
I understand that. I just am not sure.
Mhm.
Could be wrong, that they have to be the owners of the property to do that.
Well,
If that's my,
yeah,
We're
we're not taking the property. The idea, the city is still, we're leasing the property.
you talking about some pricing, so that's,
Oh,
I need to make sure we clear.
But
Because we talked about some pricing,
Yes.
right?
controller, we're giving you the value of the land, and the land is still staying in the city's hands. We are never taking this, we are not let's say alienating the city from its ownership. What we're doing is giving you upfront the value of the land as if we were purchasing it. That land is staying in your control only through the IDA, because we cannot, as it stays in the city's hands, we can't develop the land. That's why the IDA has been formed, so developers can do it. You'd have to create a special you have to go through so many legal changes for the city then to become the function as the IDA, and it makes no sense when you have an IDA.
I'm not talking about this, Eddie, just so we clear. I'm very.
We're not buying the land.
Let's
Okay.
very student at what IDA's purpose
Okay,
is. I
very
get
good.
that, I understand that. I've
Yes,
served on the board long
Give me.
no, right?
Mhm.
So I'm not asking that. What I'm asking, I'm trying to make sure, again, I go back to my original point, right?
Yes.
Is to make sure that clearly we are identifying how the city itself is from from a consistent basis is going to be able to benefit from what we've been looking at as bar down that we were turning the corner on is that we were not basically one, selling our properties.
Mhm.
Two, we were entering into ground leases.
Mhm.
With the ground lease interest, if you're entering into ground leases with IDA, my question again is, so how does that, whatever that is, then translate to benefiting the city? IDA has traditionally operated over here. IDA has not given any money over to the city other than what the IDA then has at some point negotiated for its pilots, in which is a reduced again now tax, right?
I understand.
Project to come over to the city. So I think you maybe understand where I am, right? But I'm,
Yeah,
right?
explain the logistics of the payment. So we are going to enter into a ground lease, and the purchase of the properties will be enacted through that ground lease, as I'm sure you're familiar, having been on the idea in the past, in the form of an upfront rent payment. At construction closing, we will pay the entire value of the public parcels, the appraised value, to either the IDA or the city. It depends who has common ownership. I don't think we necessarily care if it's the IDA as we've proposed, as we've been advised by IDA council, or if it's the city that maintains common ownership. Either works for us. We just need the lots to be commonly owned.
Maybe that's something we should probably talk with the law department.
No, we will.
We will.
Law department.
Because
What's very important is that the city, which is the city council, has a ground lease that makes these stipulations within it. Maybe you need to review that with them. And if the council president is here, she would understand, she would know that almost for a year now, that ground lease has all of those bells and whistles that you are looking for within it. And so that's where we're at a
All right,
disadvantage.
I'll follow up with it. No,
Okay. Mhm.
Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you for the time.
So, I mean, I know because you all talked about the August 13th meeting. I'm just gonna be really realistic that I'm not sure that that's gonna be feasible. For them. However, what I think we can commit to is that we need to probably have this engagement with the city council, a conversation with them and with IDA and with our attorneys, right? To see what it is. And then, you know, if need be, if this is something that everybody feels needs to kind of be advanced forward as quickly as you're saying, then they could consider if there's going to be a need for a special meeting or whatever to deal with that. I think the disadvantage is that you've got the city council that only meets once a month in the summer.
Summertime.
So typically there would be 2 times, but I understand because you've articulated it well, that you're running underneath a wire or gun, you need to get some decisions made. I get it. I'm not trying to derail a project that may very well be of great benefit to the city in its totality. I just want to make sure that I'm being a good fiduciary and answering.
And you are. You've been a magnificent.
What I need to do, right? At the end of the day.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Mhm.
All right, anything else with this? All right, if not, well, thank you. I mean, you're welcome to stay. You don't have to. I know y'all got things to do, so, that's fine.
What we did have is, some of our participation with the schools we leave with, Jeanette. So anybody wants to see that each year that we donate and we give our time to the schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to, business, which is, what you thought to talk about the property phase 1. So, phase 1 was, for us to begin our review of the 5 properties that are on the agenda, to include, 224 North, 7th, 529 East 3rd, 234 East 5th Street, and 106 Hillside Avenue. And then, 52 Missouri. Okay, those were the, properties in which we were, to review, the, bids and things that we got in. So at the last meeting, what we agreed, thank you, what we agreed would happen is that, my office would take the administrative responsibility of going back and looking at all of the submissions, for these properties based upon that which had been submitted, in person, and that also that had been submitted online. So I am happy to report that we did do that. We did go through all of them and look at them. And the goal for that review was just to review it from a standpoint of whether or not those bids were complete. And completion meant that they actually had an actual offer that they had submitted, and two, that they had had proof of funds for the offer itself, right? And then that would determine that it was certified as complete. So we've done that, but I will say that there are a few things that arise as the questions which may require an executive session to discuss, right? And I'm just gonna throw it out there, right? One is, we were in the announcement, we were very, very clear about what proof of funds in, right? In it that, right, for example, could not be just a bank statement. It had to actually be a certified letter or whatever it is from a financial institution. Right? So we've got an array of things that are in these proposals, right? We've got bank statements that just show how much money the bidder had in the account or accounts that they submitted. We got some bank statements that are bank statements that have a stamp on them from the actual bank that basically, so to me, I guess, basically kind of certifying that this is the amount at the time. Now, remembering now time has gone by, so now things have changed. We probably gonna have to ask for a updated proof for those that actually submitted them. And then the other question is that we also got some that submitted pre-approved loans documents to say, okay, they got a pre-approval, right, on it, right? No, there's no questions at this time. No questions.
No question, but
No
a statement.
There's
All
no
right.
statements or questions at
All right,
this
sir.
time. It's board, sir. Sorry. There are, so we've got some of those statements, got those things that have been submitted. And then we've got some scenarios where we've got a person who has, or a group or an organization or a company or whatever it is that has submitted, bids in, for multiple properties and, has, a pre-approval. But it's the same pre-approval. It's only the one pre-approval for, I guess, the multiple properties, right? On it. I don't know how we treat that. Right? Because I guess the question is that, yeah, I don't know if you can use the same approval for the other properties. I don't know. I don't know if, you take the first one and then, and go from there, whatever the case may be. But those are the things that I glean from the documents that kind of have been submitted, right? On that. So that's the challenges I think that arise through our review, our initial review of what these were. And then of course you got the ones that don't have any document at all. So don't have a document at all. So on the onset it says that they're not necessarily certified as having complete, right? Now, in those scenarios, also there are there are bids that are, or they range. There are bids that are below the market rate or the assessed rate that's on that. And we know that, there's some obligation we have to get as close as to fair market value of things, and unless there's extenuating circumstance or something, so forth and so on. So these are the things that, basically, I have gleaned, from there. So I was hoping that today, actually, that we'd have full board here, right? So we could kind of decide what's the next step and how to move forward. So I don't know if there's anything else that I could say, other than let's now, I guess, discuss what I guess the next steps will be. I will say that I think that once we decide, we need to also consider if we are going to be, let me go back. The reason why we chose these properties to start with was because we know that these properties have a element to them that says we probably should look at them first, right? And it could be a variety of things, that the condition of the property, we need to kind of look at the fact that it may have been occupied, is occupied. It may be occupied by a previous owner of the property or a relative of the previous owner on that. So those are the things why we chose, in case somebody wants to ask a question, is that how did we choose these properties? We chose them because of that, and then also because we also had some consistent people coming and asking about them in that. So like I even did make sure that we even look at the 320, which one we don't? It's not on the 5 list, but it is 230. No, 234 is on there. The 331 South Second, because and Ms. Esther consistently is here. So what do you?
I mean, well, first of all, we don't have a full board, which I was expecting that everybody was going to be here today. So I'm assuming that we're going to probably have to have a special. Probably. But, I mean, I reviewed it. I mean, like you stated, we have to try to get to the highest, closest that to, what the city paid out on these properties. I think that's our responsibility to do. So hopefully, we can do that. And then hopefully the offers that we received, that they met the criteria with, proof of funds. In regards to the proof of funds, we probably will have to act probably for update because they're time sensitive, like the pre-approval letters. They usually only, probably valid maybe for 90, maybe to 3 months most. So we would have to definitely look into those.
Right, but even to that point, and I think that's why I said I think that there's someone we might have to have an executive session to talk about this, right? Because I need some legal advice on that, right? The issue at hand is that you got to pre-approve them, right? But there's also a condition, I think, in the charter, right, that talks about that you have, okay, so if it gets approved by the council on this day, you have 15 days, I think, to basically make a payment. I don't know about a pre-approval getting processed in that time, right? So, So maybe we should move to go into executive session, and then we can circle back.
Today?
Well, I don't know, because again, we're not full board, so we could adjourn the meeting and then say we're gonna call a special meeting, get with the city council president, find out when she's available, and then reconvene the meeting before the scheduled next one. Maybe that's the best approach. So, all right, is that what you?
I think that sounds.
Okay.
Today's meeting.
So we're gonna adjourn. So we'll adjourn this meeting, and with the intent that we're gonna call a special meeting, to follow up on this, and also to potentially have an executive session to talk through some of those very legal things that we probably need to talk about. I want to be clear. For me, I want us to be able to move as swiftly as possible to get these properties back on the tax rolls. I think that we've done all as much as we could possibly do. I know my office has done as much as my office could do as the comptroller's office to really research all of the things, all of the little nuances that have happened with all of these properties under previous administrations and all of that. So I think, like I also said about the tax liens challenges of the city, that I am at a place now where I think I'm comfortable with us being able to make a decision and to move forward, whatever that is, right? I will be honest that several months ago, I would not have been able to say that because I think that there was some things that was kind of out there that we needed to work through. I think that we've done as best that we can, and once we talk to legal counsel about how to kind of proceed with it, we'll be able to kind of just move forward and see how this pans out. So, all right. Okay, if there's nothing else, anything new? Not for this committee, but I guess, not for this particular board, but just as a understanding of what has happened, we did have the tax lien sales for those properties that were in arrears. For at least the first group of them. Remember that the city, we had decided we were going to do them in segments because there were so many of them. So we started with the first group, which was a group of about 100 properties. Of that, we got some of them that actually sold, the tax lien sold. We're issuing out those tax lien certificates now. The rest of those properties that are left from that did not are now being processed through to go through through the NREM process. We have already planned for the next second session of the tax lien sales, which will be in September. I'm trying to narrow down an actual date, which will be done probably in the next 2 or 3 days, because we have to make sure that we give the 30-day public notice of all of those things, and want to give enough time for that. So that process is moving along as well as this process is now moving along to try to get as much of the tax revenue back into the city as possible. Okay. Is there a motion to close?
I make a motion that, close the meeting time.
Second. Probably move the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Controller Martin,
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
It is 3:10.
All right, so meeting is closed at 3:10, and we will make sure that we provide the public announcement for when the next meeting is.